The procedure of reporting assets to the Unclaimed Financial Assets Authority is simplified in the following easy steps. Step 1. Write an email to holders at ufaa.go.ke to request your profile to be created. Step 2. A link will be sent to the email provided for activation of the account. Step 3. Click on the link to activate the profile and change the password immediately. Step 4. For subsequent access, use the link provided here. In case of forgotten password, use Forgot Password link to create a new one. Step 5. After login, click on Assets to submit records, and if the client has subsidiary, you can create more users and manage users. Unclaimed Financial Assets Authority. Receive.
Good evening, and thank you very much for joining us for this edition of Channel 1 News Hour on this 27th day of October 2020. I hope you had yourself a very wonderful day today. My name is Edward Kabasa. A comprehensive coverage of today's news is lined up for you tonight. My sign language interpreter is Lucy Maura, but first things first, let's have the highlights. A runaway virus. Kenya announces 836 new COVID-19 cases on the day the Mombasa County Assembly suspended sittings after 3 MCAs tested positive for the deadly virus. The debate rages on. Opinion remains divided over the implementation matrix of the newly launched Building Bridges Initiative report. And Tanzania decides. Tanzanians head to the poll Wednesday amid claims of voter intimidation. We are on air and online. Our social media platforms are active. This live broadcast is available on Facebook, KBC Channel 1 TV, on Twitter at KBC Channel 1. Welcome to the program. Kenya's COVID-19 infection rate is on an upward trajectory and stands at 20%, with cases crossing the 50,000 mark. The Ministry of Health says 50,833 people have so far tested positive for the novel coronavirus, 226 days after the first case was reported in the country. According to the latest data released on Tuesday, 836 people returned positive tests from 4,076 samples screened in 24 hours. The death toll from COVID-19 is also on the rise and is at 934 after 14 more patients lost the battle.
7 months after Kenya reported the first case of COVID-19, the infection curve is yet to flatten. On Tuesday, the Ministry of Health announced 836 new cases, increasing the total number to 50,833. The cumulative number of samples analyzed stands at 666,122 samples. From the latest figures sampled over the last 24 hours, 822 are Kenyans and 14 are foreigners, while 618 are males and 218 are females. The cases are distributed across 25 counties, with Nairobi taking the lead with 556, followed by Uasin Gishu with 68, while Mombasa has recorded 62 new cases. Kiambu is ranked 4th with 32, and Nakuru seals the top 5 most affected counties with 24 positive tests in the last 24 hours. In the previous 24 hours, 14 deaths have been reported, bringing the total number of fatalities from COVID-19 to 934. In the last 24 hours, 403 patients have recovered from the virus, 250 from home-based care program, while 153 from various hospitals. Currently, 1,150 patients are admitted to various health facilities countrywide, while 3,961 are on home-based isolation and care. Of the patients in hospitals, 38 patients are in the intensive care unit, 36 are in general wards, while 25 others are in high dependency units. Irene Mchuma Odim, Channel 1.
The Mombasa County Assembly Tuesday suspended its sittings for 2 weeks after 3 MCAs tested positive for COVID-19. Majority Chief Whip Junior Wambua confirmed the closure, saying the move could to cushion more members from contracting the virus and is in keeping with the Ministry of Health guidelines on the containment of the coronavirus.
Majority Chief Whip at the Mombasa County Assembly, Junior Wambua, confirmed that 3 of his colleagues at the Assembly had tested positive for coronavirus.
Juzi tulipimwa na kumepatikana watatu wako positive. Na tukaona ni mzuri tufunge bunge ili wale waendelee na kupata matibabu na baada ya wiki mbili tufungue bunge.
The Chani MCA reiterated that testing for all the staff working in the building is underway and the Assembly will have to be fumigated in keeping with the dictates of the Ministry of Health in containing the spread of the virus.
Tumesema wale wengine wale wafanyakazi wetu pia wapimwe, na hiyo ndio kitu ambao nimeacha sasa hii inaendelea kuangaliwa na clerk ili hakikisha kwamba daktari amekuja pale na amepimwa kila mtu ili tuweze kuwa safe katika bunge letu. Pia tumesema wakati huo wakipimwa tutapiga dawa jengo lote ili tuhakikisha kwamba tukirudi itakuwa ni mzuri kwa afya zetu na kwa wale wenzetu ambao tunawakilisha.
Going forward, the MCA said the Assembly will be undertaking tests every 3 months to ascertain the level of the virus spread. The ward representative urged Mombasa residents to adhere to the set-out guidelines in prevention against the spread of the virus, especially with the second wave already setting in.
Ile ningetaka kuomba wakaji wa Mombasa ni kwamba ugonjwa wa corona huko na wachukue tahadhari zote zile zinawezesha tuishi katika hali nzuri.
The closure of the Assembly came as the county recorded 62 new cases in the last 24 hours, with Mvita registering 27, Nyali 14, Jomvu and Kisauni 7 each, Likoni 5, and Changamwe 2. For Channel 1 News Hour from Mombasa County, I am Ann Boru.
Clinical officers in the country have urged the government to ban all political and non-essential gatherings to tame the surging numbers of COVID-19 infections. Through the Kenya Union of Clinical Officers, the medics claimed political rallies have turned death traps to many Kenyans as those attending such events flout all coronavirus containment measures.
The union expressed discontent in the manner in which the government was handling the surging numbers by allowing political gatherings. KUKO General Secretary Gibore George said the nation had abandoned the COVID-19 containment measures, accusing the politicians for leading Kenyans to their graves without mercy.
The general public is advised to take containment measure communicated by the Minister of Health seriously as an individual, not as a populous issue. To avoid political and non-essential gathering, because this might cost your life.
The influential people who are supposed to be models to the entire public are treating these measures, then we are going to have a surge in the cases in the community.
The union claimed currently the health workers are bearing the brunt as the cases have increased steadily and the country's health system is stretched beyond its capacity.
Tell the government that they really need to move with speed because we are likely going to be run by this pandemic. The way things are, the structure, the human resource, we have a big challenge.
As we talk now, some of the facilities like MTRH are actually full. in the coming weeks.
The medics also want every county to have adequate and fully equipped designated isolation facilities for healthcare workers to protect them and their families from the deadly virus.
If they don't move with speed, first, we are likely going to lose the frontline healthcare workers. Some now are infected and a majority in quarantine.
The Kenya Clinical Officers Association Secretary General Joseph Chebi raised concerns of healthcare workers being forced to work despite testing positive for the virus, saying it was undermining the war against the pandemic.
And there is an obvious surge that we really have to take care of ourselves. In this, we really encourage you that if you are not on proper PPEs, kindly avoid attending patients because that one is a risk of infection.
They warned that in the coming weeks, hospitals will be unable to admit new patients, saying the numbers have reached a ceiling high.
Let's shift gears now. The National Council of Elders has called on leaders to engage constructively in the Building Bridges Initiative discussion. They said the BBI process should be headed by all leaders and no one should be left behind. Headed by its patron, Captain Kungu Muigai, and the chairperson, Faris Rutere. The council, which met the Deputy President William Ruto at his current residence, urged for the reggae bravado in the BBI debate to be stopped. The elders also held talks with Amani National Congress leader Musalia Mudavadi.
The Deputy President, who had hosted the elders, urged them to take the lead in preaching unity and moderate on politics to be less confrontational but more issue-based.
Mtu aseme maneno yake, Wakenya watasikiza na watasema huyu ametoa point. Huyu ametoa point. Lakini hiyo ya kukibia na maroli hakuna point unatoa. Na hiyo tukiwa wazee tutakataa. Tunataka watu waongee na waongee pamoja.
Wewe simama imara. Sisi wewe ni mtoto yetu. Kama wewe natembea, wacha chuki. Hata kama wewe nasikia kitu namna gani, wewe endelea na yako.
Hata mambo yakienda yawe mazito, inatakikana mahali neutral. Watu wote wanaweza kwenda pale, wasikizwe na watu ambao wako na hekima, wako na ubusara, lakini hawaegemei upande wowote wa siasa.
Ruto called on the elders to lead the nation in preaching unity and end tribalism that is a threat to national cohesion.
Na mimi nataka niseme asante sana kwa kutusaidia kuzungumza na Kenya, kuzungumza na Wakenya, kuzungumza na taifa letu ili tuwe na amani, tuwe na uwiano, tuwe na maelewano baina ya Wakenya.
The same elders also held talks with the Amani National Congress leader Musalia Mudavadi, who called on President Uhuru Kenyatta to form a structured committee to take the final recommendation on the issues raised over the report.
Yeye mwenyewe kama rais anaweza teua small one, warekebishe, wamalize, wapige musasa pahali kuna mambo kidogo, alafu by the time we are entering next year tukikaribia hiyo mambo ya referendum, hizi vitu zote tumefanya nini?
Mudavadi said incorporating the final views will help in rallying Kenyans together and make the nation move forward united to the referendum.
Na kushayushiwa sana na watu wengi. Kwa hivyo tulikuwa tumeona gaps. Na mimi najua rais wa Jamhuri ya Kenya kwa kitu kimoja. Once he sees that there are issues, he will open that window. Ili watu wafanye nini? Wafanye polishing. Na tuende mbele.
Kwa sababu sisi mheshimiwa, sisi hatuogopi kuo. Sisi hakuna kitu tunangojea. Kuna mzee anatafuta kazi hapa. Kuna sisi tutangojea tu hiyo safari ya kwenda huko. Kwa hivyo tukiona mtu anaharibu, tukiona mtu anafanya makosa, tunamwambia.
Suleiman Yeri, Channel 1 News.
A section of Western Kenya leaders has urged President Uhuru Kenyatta and ODM leader Raila Odinga not to entertain sideshows from those calling for a review of the BBI report and instead lead the country to a referendum. The lobby group under the Magharibi Youth Alliance claims that the push to subject the recommendations to another round of review is only meant to derail the process. This as the Third Way Alliance party insisted on the need for a national conversation, saying there was room for the report to be improved.
Those supporting the BBI report now want the document subjected to a referendum, claiming the window to give views is long gone and it was time the plane takes off.
I think people who are telling us to start another task force or a constitutional assembly are people who are basically planning to derail this process.
People are just looking for trouble in BBI. It's nothing. It is not that it's such a mischievous document. People are just looking for trouble. And that's politics.
The Magharibi Youth Alliance recommending that the referendum should be done in the first quarter of next year, as the report has outlined a clear work plan how it should be implemented.
We take it to the assemblies. We will persuade members of the county assembly that this bill is for the benefit of all Kenyans, and by January we should have a date for the bill to be presented before the Houses of Parliament and a referendum in the first quarter of next year.
This, as a section of political parties, despite lauding the report, insisted that a national dialogue is needed to iron out the thorny issues.
Just like BBI thought it wise that we are partners and we believe that the 9 issues are good, they will think it is wise again to ensure that Punguza Mizigo goes to the referendum as a whole document.
BBI has come at a good time and it's a good thing and should be supported so that we don't have this recurrent instability and tensions that has bedeviled this country over a long period of time.
What is the difficulty of adding a few positions at the top to balance the regions ili winner takes it all iondoke katika Kenya hii? Alafu mtu anasema wanajipangia wao tu, wanaweka gharama. Mbona hii 47 county government haijasemekana ni gharama? Look at it from that angle.
Meanwhile, a section of young people are urging the political class to ensure youth-oriented proposals are fully implemented.
They want to challenge our young members of parliament that now this is the time for you to take up the challenge, move with it. We want to see as young people those bills as soon as possible, so that now, because the process is already in motion, can we have those bills being done already?
They say the moratorium on the repayment of the higher education loan and the tax holiday for youth enterprises are a huge gain for the youth.
We have also gotten the tax break, like everybody has spoken about. That means if you leave university at the age of 24, you can start a business and you do not have to have a conversation with government until you're 31 years old. Hakuna mtu anakuja kukuitisha kodi. No income tax, no VAT, nothing. Complete tax break. That is a big win for our generation and the young people who are younger than us. We must clap for ourselves.
Some, however, are of the view that the bureaucratic red tape in the government should be fully eliminated to assist the youth get service easily. Suleiman Yeri, Channel 1 News.
Thank you, Suleiman Yeri, for that report. Channel 1 News Hour takes a very short break. More news on the other end. Don't go anywhere.
We deal with hospitality, restaurants and catering supplies. After COVID was announced in March, so of course we didn't want to handle cash. We got pay with equity, and also so many of us were working from home. So that meant we got EasyBiz. That made a big impact. You can transact, you can transfer money to your account. We used to receive our statements monthly on email. Now we get them anytime we want. So for the pandemic, that has been awesome. After COVID-19 pandemic, we got EasyPay. You can receive money from different platforms. We have a SIM card and a phone. Someone pays and we get a message immediately. Unlike the past where we had to go to the bank, the pandemic has left more distraction than even the virus itself. Our business is still there thanks to things like EasyPay and EasyBiz. If that wasn't possible, things would have really, really gone south. Post-COVID, we also need to hit the ground running. We're moving paperless, we're moving cashless with equity.
What are domain names?
A domain name is simply a resource on the internet that is identified with a unique number. So kbc.co.ke is a domain name.
What are the safeguards? That once you have my information, it will be retained, verified, it will be used in a manner that I understand.
.co stands for a company, and .ke stands for the location of that company.
But in having all those data sets come together, that kind of data set becomes very important and very vulnerable from a data security standpoint.
On the next episode of Corner.
Sasa wewe utashinda hapo umezubaia hiyo dirisha, umezubaia hiyo mlango na nakupatia opportunity hapa mali moto.
Nobody does, because you won't let us in on the secret.
I asked you not to talk to me like that, young lady.
Or what? Why Wanjala? Why not just go and adopt a child from an orphanage like normal people?
You tried to trick Julia into marrying you.
Alikuwa anataka break.
What the hell is it with you men and taking breaks? You can't handle life head on?
This weekend on KBC Channel 1.
Let us get this right.
Shut up, Julia. Quit behaving like a class 4 kid, and woman up. Farah, you were saying?
Fateki Nyanji, if I ever told you that you're my hero, you're my chakinodi. When I grow up, I just want to be like you.
Hey, Walimu, those are really big names. Hey, I wish I could be smart like you.
Yeah, if you're having this skin disease, how comes you cannot see it?
What kind of stupid question is that? That is because I'm wearing clothes. Idiot.
Look, Julia, I'm really sorry. I didn't think they'll use this information against you.
No one is killing anyone here.
I would if I were in her shoes.
What are you... wait, she's young. Can you stop laughing and help Farah out of that mess?
Classmates, every Saturday on KBC.
This is Channel 1 News Hour. Thank you for staying with us. Wastage of resources and failure to have budget spending to the grassroots are perceived as major challenges lagging development in the counties. The BBI report recommends a 20% increment of funds to counties to 35%. Tonight, we premier focus on devolution and the recommendations by the report.
According to the report, Kenyans overwhelmingly supported the retention of the governance system, acknowledging that devolution has had its successes. However, a number of concerns were raised that the report says has hindered the devolved units from meeting their mandate. Among issues cited included wastage of resources and theft, divergent views on the revenue allocation formula, spending that has failed to trickle down to the grassroots, poor planning, misdirected priorities, inadequate capacity to implement budgets, and ineffective oversight mechanisms. The report further says there is need to streamline recruitment and clear appointment procedures be followed on the hiring and firing of employees and well-defined roles for each position. The report says after highlighting these challenges, Kenyans proposed the following specific interventions: the increased allocation of funds to the county governments, periodic costing of national and county functions by the Commission on Revenue Allocation, National Treasury and Controller of the Budget. Complete transfer of functions from the national government to counties, including restructuring or winding up of parastatals that still carry out county government functions. Initiate reforms to ensure that counties become centers of growth and economic development, include governors as part of the security structure within the counties. With regard to healthcare, it was generally agreed that there was a need to restructure NHIF and initiate reforms to improve service delivery in the counties, curb unrest in the sector, and enhance professionalism. There were divergent views, with one group pushing strongly for a health service commission while others were strongly for a regulatory statutory body to regulate and oversee the employment and deployment of specialized medical staff who are in short supply. In addition, there was support for the rolling out of universal healthcare and upgrading of referral services and emergency response and paramedic services. To achieve above desires, the report proposes constitutional amendments for a bill to operationalize the County Wards Development Fund Bill 2020. The bill aimed to provide a legal framework for operationalization of the Ward Development Fund. Resources to counties will increase from the current 15% to at least 35% if the proposed bill is passed to law. This will ensure focus on service delivery is settled and serviced areas, inclusive of persons near the farthest boundary of each county. The proposals will additionally ensure greater inclusivity, fairness, equity, and accountability in the distribution of resources. BBI further proposes a Devolution Laws Amendment Bill 2020. The principal object of the Devolution Laws Bill is to amend the County Governments Act 2012 and the Intergovernmental Relations Act 2012 to align various provisions of the Act with multiple court decisions on matters relating to devolution and to incorporate lessons learned in the implementation of the Acts. Further, the BBI amends the County Governments Act to include a provision requiring county governors to designate to their deputy governors County Executive Committee portfolios. Irene Mchuma Odim, Channel 1.
Nyeri Central Deputy County Commissioner Joseph Mwangi has called on leaders to desist from inflammatory utterances as they discuss the Building Bridges Initiative report. Mwangi urges leaders to preach peace when the BBI rallies begin and as the country inches towards the 2022 general election campaigns, warning those out to ignite violence that they won't be spared.
Speaking in Nyeri on Tuesday during a sensitization forum on security and hate speech management organized by the National Cohesion and Integration Commission (NCIC), Mwangi, who is the sub-county security committee chairman, said individuals will be held responsible for their actions.
As the chairman of the security, we are not going to tolerate any kind of incitement and hate speech.
The DCC urged chief to ensure there was peace in their areas of jurisdiction during any political meetings and ensure law and order is maintained by all.
And moreover, we are not going to stop at that. Anybody who come and incite people here who spread hate speech will be arrested and prosecuted, irrespective of the status, because we must have peace in this town.
NCIC Head of Legal Department Chalo Mwengi said they have partnered with the local administration to enhance cohesion within the county. He said the commission has partnered with the national social media umbrella for bloggers to curb spreading of hate speech via social media.
Hate speech has moved from the traditional public rallies and social gatherings to the social media platform. We have partnered with the BEX, which is the umbrella organization for bloggers and generally social media users. We are having sensitization workshops so that we encourage them to desist from using hate speech.
For Channel 1 News, I'm Ben Troinjue.
Burial arrangements for the late lawyer Nzamba Kitonga, who died on Sunday after a short illness, have commenced. According to the family spokesperson, James Kitonga, they are finalizing details before announcing the exact date for his interment. Meanwhile, Makueni County Governor Professor Kibutha Kibwana and Law Society of Kenya Council members visited the late Kitonga's home in Nairobi to condole with the family. Nzamba Kitonga will be remembered for his role as a member of the Committee of Experts on Constitutional Review that drafted the 2010 Constitution.
Tumeshukuru sana kwa all the support tumepata from all over the country katika huu muda wa msiba huu uliotupata. Na hii ni kwa sababu mzee alikuwa ni mtu mwenye heshima na pia mwenye hekima, na ambaye alikuwa anajali sana nchi hii na mambo iliyokuwa inaendelea. Kwa hivyo kwa sisi kama familia tunasema asante, na tunataka kupanga mipango ya kumpeleka mzee mahali pema peponi. Tutafuata mwelekeo alioishi nao na tutajaribu sana kufuata nyayo zake.
Let's now cross our borders. Zanzibar's main opposition party claims its flag bearer has been arrested that day to the local and national elections. The Alliance for Change and Transparency, popularly known as ACT Wazalendo, says Maalim Seif Sharif was at a polling station on Tuesday morning when he was arrested by police officers. On Wednesday, mainland Tanzania goes to the polls to elect their president, lawmakers and local government officials. Incumbent President John Magufuli is seeking re-election and will face off with 14 opponents.
The Alliance for Change and Transparency, popularly known as ACT Wazalendo, says Maalim Seif Sharif, who is running for presidency for the 6th time, was at a polling station when police came and whisked him away. Police have denied killing 3 people in Pemba on Monday. Voting opened a day early to allow officials from the Zanzibar Electoral Commission, returning officers and security personnel to take part. In Zanzibar, residents vote for the island's leaders, including the election of a Zanzibari president, as well as Tanzania's national election. 17 presidential candidates are seeking election in Zanzibar, which is a group of islands off the coast of Tanzania, which have a semi-autonomous status from the mainland. The incumbent, Ali Mohammed Shein, has finished his 2 5-year terms in the office. In mainland Tanzania, President John Magufuli is seeking re-election and will face off with 14 other contenders. He is the candidate for the Chama cha Mapinduzi party, which has uninterruptedly governed Tanzania since independence. More than 29 million people have registered to cast their ballots. Polling stations are due to open at 7 a.m. and close at 4 p.m. on Wednesday. In the run-up to the polls, opposition parties complained of threats and repression as the Election Commission disqualified dozens of opposition parliamentary candidates, while rights groups accused the government of curtailing free expression and press freedom. Weekly Focus for Channel 1 News.
And we will be keeping a close eye on that particular exercise for you. 2.2% of Kenyans live with some form of disability, which translates to close to 1 million people. Data from the 2019 Kenya National Population Census shows those with mobility disability form the bulk of this figure at 400,000 people. 25-year-old Dan Kipkoech from Narok Town belongs to this group of people. But he is not your ordinary beggar, Ruth Wamboi, with a story of a resilient young man living with a physical disability.
Sikuandika barua ila sikuwaza ningetengwa mie yalivyosonga majira ndio kwenye kawacheko kwa.
As the saying goes, disability is not inability. Meet 25-year-old Dan Kipkoech. Though in a wheelchair, he is full of hope.
Nimepita ni maisha ngumu ndio nikafika hapa. Nimechomwa na jua sana hata wakati nilikuwa natambaa chini. Lakini sasa mimi naona ni kwa afadhali. Mimi niko kama nyinyi sasa. Ndio ninafanya kazi.
Ni kijana anajitahidi sana. Ukiona vile anafanya kazi hata wewe unapata ile moyo wa kumsaidia.
He was born in Longisa, Bomet County, but resides in Narok Town. He is a small-scale trader and runs a mobile shop from his modified wheelchair.
Mimi nilikuwa nyumbani, nilizaliwa hivi. Mimi hata siku hakuna kitu ilinikuza isipokuwa nilizaliwa hivi na nipo ndio nashukuru Mungu.
We decided to job shadow him as he moves around Narok Town in search of customers in need of household goods, popularly known as Mali Mali.
Nikamwambia rafiki yangu, kama ningepata ya mguu tatu, kaniuliza ya kufanya. Nikamwambia sasa, unajua ya kutegemea watu si mzuri. So ninataka nini? Nataka ya kufanyia kazi. Kaniambia, wewe shika tu hii, tumia tu kidogo. Hiyo mwaka mwingine tukikuja, tukuje tu apply hiyo. So hiyo mwaka yenye ilipita ndio tulienda naye wakanipea hii. Lakini wako nipea ikiwa na hii. Hii nilikuja kuweka, hii nilikuja kuweka, hii nilikuja kuweka mpaka hii.
In Kenya, persons living with disabilities still face some sort of stigma even from family. Such was the case with Dan. His approachable personality has helped him make a lot of friends who help him from time to time.
Sasa namsaidia kutoa hizi vitu vyake, nasafisha vizuri, alafu namwekea hapo ndani.
Tunamfurahia kwa sababu hajaianguka na hajashuka. Amekuwa mtu wa maana by the way. So we love him so much. Tunaona anang'ang'ana.
Ninafanya kazi na sichoki. So nikipata hata mwenye atanisupport kuniinua kidogo na nipate gari ya kazi, naona itakuwa sawa.
Dan is not married yet, but is hopeful of having his own family in the future.
Uwezi jua kama bado una struggle sana. Unafanya kazi ukiwa unajibanga. So hata mimi mwenyewe najibanga. Nikipata tu nikiona stock imeshika line basi. Hapo si shida. Kuongea na mtu si shida.
His parting shot to other persons living with disability.
Wewe ni mlemavu wenyewe hatukatai. Lakini sasa so long as akili iko sawa, usijiite uko mlemavu. Hata ukishona viatu ni sawa, upaka rangi ni sawa. Hakuna ulemavu hapo. Hata ukipata 10 ni yako, 20 ni yako, 50 ni yako.
Wale watu wako nyumbani, ambia watoe hii watoto wanawalalia ndani ya boma. Watoke nje ili wajue wakae kama Dan.
And now, First Lady Margaret Kenyatta has assured her continued support to ongoing initiatives to combat cancer at the county level. Meanwhile, in West Pokot County, women groups are reaping huge profits from capsicum farming thanks to the support of the United States government. Details of this and much more in news making headlines in the counties.
In a message delivered by Beyond Zero coordinator Angela Langati Nanyuki during the launch of Empower Project Cancer Clinic in Laikipia County as part of the breast cancer awareness activities in the month of October, the First Lady committed to continue providing free cancer screening services during Beyond Zero medical safaris.
Her Excellency commits to lend her voice and support initiatives that will steer Kenya to reduce incidence and mortality as well as improve the quality of life of those who develop cancer.
Meanwhile, in West Pokot County, women groups are reaping huge profits from capsicum farming thanks to the support of the United States government.
And progressively, we have come to see the maturity of the labor. That you gave them this greenhouse. And the greenhouse is an incubation center for business where all of them work together as a team.
Elsewhere in Samburu County, Samburu North Member of Parliament Alois Letoimaga has raised concerns over increasing security in Baragoi.
Tumekosa kufanya projects mzuri, tumekosa kupata wageni, hata investors, hata NGOs, hata projects serikali mingi imerudi kwa sababu kutokuwa na usalama. Tunaomba watu wetu waeke usalama ndio to attract investors, to attract projects ambayo inaweza create employment na pia ilete maendeleo katika sehemu yetu.
And Wajir County government says plans are at the advanced stage to supply piped water from boreholes at Lambib and Lehelei to residents.
The delivery of these vehicles is part of my transformational agenda of ensuring that our people in water tracking centers have access to clean and affordable water.
Meanwhile, in Kilifi County, the Kenya Forest Research Institute is set to plant 250,000 mangrove trees with an aim to mitigate the effects of climate change along Kenya's coastline.
Tunajua hii migogo katika coast ndio
economic tree of importance within the coast, na sisi tumeikata sana, na tunataka kurudisha mazingira vile ilitoka vile ilikuweko mbeleni.
And finally, the Kenya National Union of Nurses Mombasa branch has issued a 1-week ultimatum to the county government of Mombasa to heed to their demands, failure to which they will down tools and paralyze operations in public hospitals.
In the next 1 week, if they are not going to pay salaries, we shall now issue a form of strike notice. And in the, going forward, we shall now embark on a strike that will last for many days if the employer is not going to act.
The procedure of reporting assets to the Unclaimed Financial Assets Authority is simplified in the following easy steps. Step 1. Write an email to holders at ufaa.go.ke to request your profile to be created. Step 2. A link will be sent to the email provided for activation of the account. Step 3. Click on the link to activate the profile and change the password immediately. Step 4. For subsequent access, use the link provided here. In case of forgotten password, use Forgot Password link to create a new one. Step 5. After login, click on Assets to submit records, and if the client has subsidiary, you can create more users and manage users. Unclaimed Financial Assets Authority. Receive, safeguard, reunite. On the next episode of Ashoka.
I tried to speak out the truth, but your falsity overpowered my truth. The brother Sushim and brother Ashok have mistreated me. I do not want to see them die.
Next on.
Let us sing with Paris Sunday. From we are the still resisting. People, oh people, expectation. Will they love you? Who is he who sits up in the Mount Zion? King Haile Selassie first. The King of Kings, he is the conquering lion. King Haile Selassie.
Bank wakasema mwenye ako na loan tuende kwa bank. Mtu vile alikuwa amechukua loan yake kiwango yake akareduciwa. Sasa ingekuwa maisha ni ngumu kabisa.
Next on.
Mtu ambaye ni mwenye kuwanufaisha watu ni mtu ambaye hapendi kudhalilisha watu wala hapendi vile vile kujidhalilisha.
لا نحتاج المال كي نزداد جمالا جوهرنا هنا.
Sasa nimekuwa marafiki na Equity Bank kabisa.
Welcome back. Time for business. 8 counties, including Nairobi, recorded less than 20% devolved fund absorption rate within the first 3 quarters of the last financial year. According to a survey carried out by the Institute of Certified Public Accountants on Kenya on the status of devolution, frequent standoffs and delays in enacting revenue allocation bills have seen the devolved units shelve development projects and increase the county pending bills.
This financial year, counties were allocated 307 billion shillings in a compromise deal after a stalemate in passing the county allocation revenue bill. According to a devolution survey report commissioned by the ISPAC, such delays reduced the county government's development expenditure considerably. The report says out of 24 counties studied, Murang'a County spent the biggest chunk of revenue on development at 60%, with Isiolo spending the least at 9.3%.
To fast track the disbursement of funds to counties. We appreciate the challenges that the National Treasury face and KRA in revenue collection, but I think it should be predictable well enough so that counties do not suffer service delivery.
The Devolution Ministry says the low development absorption rate is partly due to the devolved units over-relying on the national government allocations, calling on county government to strengthen the revenue collection infrastructure and systems to increase their revenue streams.
It is true that in some counties, when you look at the former local authorities, some local authorities were actually collecting more than some counties are doing today.
Have a revenue collection bill that is going to centralize all revenue collections. Right now, what we have is that there are systems that collect revenue, but those revenues are pilfered to different accounts.
Health was the top funded function, with counties allocating an average of 25% of their total expenditure to improve their health systems. The report supports last week's Council of Governors' pledge to increase agriculture allocations to at least 10%.
Counties indicated that extension services has worsened, and is a critical finding. We also found, we looked at agricultural departments at various counties, and you'll visit and someone say that we're actually going to retire and there are no extension officers being employed.
County governments with multiple urban centers have been asked to increase cemetery acreage, as most Kenyans now opt to be buried at cemeteries. Benson Driopa reporting for Channel 1 Business.
The government borrowed 264.68 billion shillings from the local markets from the months of July to September, according to the Capital Markets Authority Quarter 3 Soundness Report. This comes at a time when small and medium enterprises have been struggling to access credit to navigate the harsh economic conditions occasioned by the COVID-19 pandemic.
During the reading of the 2020-2021 budget estimates, the government said it intends to borrow 473.6 billion shillings from the domestic market to facilitate its development projects. This despite protests from a section of members of parliament who argued the move would starve SMEs the much-needed credit. However, the government has already borrowed over half of the estimated amount after issuing papers worth 264.68 billion shillings in the third quarter of this calendar year. According to Quarter 3 Capital Market Soundness Report, 7 treasury bonds were issued from July to September this year. In issuing these bonds, the government sought to raise 180 billion shillings but received subscriptions worth 364.92 billion shillings. In the end, however, it accepted bonds worth 223.67 billion shillings, indicating a 61.29% acceptance rate. Further, there was a tap sale during the quarter seeking to raise 40 billion shillings from the market. Bids received amounted to 40.26 billion shillings, with the government accepting 41.01 billion shillings. In the secondary bond market, during the first 9 months of 2020, bond market turnover decreased by 4.79%, with 522.5 billion shillings worth of bonds traded compared to 548.78 billion shillings traded in the same period for the year 2019. On the back of the current coronavirus pandemic, many investors have opted to venture into real estate as an alternative to dwindling equities fortunes. The real estate market saw an increased turnover during the quarter, recording a turnover value of 33.31 million shillings, a 32.45% increase from 25.15 million shillings recorded in the months of April to June of 2020. The Capital Authority predicts a positive outlook in the final quarter of the year 2020, buoyed by unveiling of the warehouse receipt system that will see more liquidity injected in the agriculture sector.
And in other matters, flexibility of flights and assurance of service and safety in cases of COVID-19 emergencies are top demands travelers have as they choose the airlines to fly with. Emirates says demand is picking up as countries continue to reopen their economies, but added that recovery will take years for 2019 numbers to be realized.
The aviation industry ground to a halt with the COVID-19 pandemic as economies shut their borders to avoid further cross-border spread. Airlines were then forced to readjust operations and depend on cargo transportation to stay afloat. Now, as passenger flights resume across the world, players say passengers have adjusted their priorities when choosing who to fly with. Emirates Senior Vice President in charge of commercial operations in Africa, Badr Abbas, says travelers want to feel safe not only through preventive measures inside the plane, but also detailed plans of support in case they are infected during their journey.
Many people are yearning to fly, and as more borders and more countries open up for travelers, at the same time, travelers will be seeking flexibility and assurances.
He said demand in Kenya is high, seeing that within 2 weeks of flight resumption, the airline increased its flight frequency from Nairobi to Dubai from 3 in a week to daily.
This is a strong testament of strong passenger demand between Kenya, in and out of Kenya, and we will continue to look at to increase our frequencies as more countries open up, which will increase the demand.
Kenya's business resilience, Abbas says, will continue to support the recovery of the aviation industry as cargo transport to the Middle East and Europe is on the upward trajectory.
Even during these challenging times, Kenyan businesses continue to export seasonal fruit, vegetables and meat to the Middle East and Europe markets.
Betty Kiptum, Channel 1 Business.
Let's now take a look at some sports news now. FIFA Dispute Resolution Chamber has ordered Kenyan Premier League side Wazito FC to pay their illegally dismissed players more than 6 million shillings for breach of contract. The chamber ruled that Ghanaian forward Paul Akwa, Togolese defender Isufu Burhana, Ugandan midfielder Mansour Safi Ago, Liberian Augustine Otu, and DR Congo forward Piscas Muhindo were illegally dismissed and deserved compensation. The 2018-2019 National Super League champions have been given 45 days to settle the aforementioned debt or face the consequences. The golf park duo of Eric Oko and David Wahu, plus the Vet Labs' Edwin Mudanyi, are the joint leaders after the round of the fourth leg of the 2020-2021 Safari Touring being played at the Par 72 Sigona Club on 2 under par 214. Oko has a round of 2 under par 70, Wahu 1 under par 71, while Mudanyi played level par 72. Ron's Nairobi's Kenneth Bolo was the other day the top performer on 2 under par 70. Dismas Indiza and Brian Joroge are joined fifth on 1 over par 217. The final round will be played on Wednesday, with the winner taking home 105,000 shillings with a bonus of 35,000 shillings if they play level par on better of 4 rounds.
To try and tuck it away.
Song Hen.
To transition now, renowned actor Mohammed Tajiri, whose career spanned over 4 decades, has passed on. The veteran actor, whose stage name was Mzee Makanyaga, breathed his last Tuesday, aged 80. According to his family, Tajiri passed on at his home in Majengo area in Nairobi County. Tajiri played leading roles in Chipukizi and Vituko programs that aired on KBC TV. His last major acting role was in Vitimbi, whose curtains came down in 2014. The late Makanyaga will be buried at the Karioko Muslim Cemetery on Wednesday afternoon in line with Muslim traditions.
Haya, ingieni. Ingia.
Unaona vile amekasirika.
Haya, toa kila kitu yako moja. Toa kitu moja.
Ndio hiyo ninafanya.
Ndio, fanya namna hiyo. Toa kiti kwanza. Kiti ndio.
Lazima tuanze tukunje mattress.
Haya, kunja.
Moshi.
Hata wewe ukicheki unaona kama nyumba yako ni keja kweli. Ngoja nikuulize, sikiza. Yaani ukinicheki hivi poa. Na kaka bibi ya Mogaka.
Wewe? Utajua wewe kama wewe ni wa Mogaka au ni wa nani?
Wacha.
Wewe kwani hujui bibi ya Mogaka?
Namjua Nyasukuta. Namjua Nyasukuta.
Wewe kwanza Makanyaga, tuangalilie hizo zisipotee.
Zisipotee kitu gani?
Ndio hiyo. Nikwambia, wacha nikueleze. Huyu msee, kusema ukweli mimi niliambiwa, huyu msee anataka Nyasukuta.
Wacha.
Ukweli huyu. Wale marani.
Safiri salama, msalimu Maulana, tutaonana baadaye. Safiri salama, msalimu Maulana, tutaonana baadaye. Tutaonana baadaye. Tutaonana baadaye.
And may his soul rest in eternal peace. That's the end of the live broadcast of Channel 1 News Hour. We do thank you very much for joining us. You can always stay up to date with breaking news on our social media platforms, KBC Channel 1 TV on Facebook and at KBC Channel 1 on Twitter. Up next is the weather forecast with Irene Muchuma Ode. My name is Edward Kabasa. Lucy Mora has been our sign language interpreter tonight. Good night.
Good evening and a very warm welcome to Channel 1 Weather Updates. I hope you're well today. My name is Irene Mchuma Odim. Tuesday night and there are scattered wet conditions across the country. There are showers over several places in the county of Nairobi and counties around the region. The western sector and the Lake Basin region are currently experiencing showers accompanied by thunderstorms over several places. And that is how the night will be. But come tomorrow morning, there will be a reduction of wet conditions over the western sector, and it will be sunny in Kisumu, Kakamega, Kericho, Kisii, and Nakuru, equally in Eldoret. There will be rains in Nairobi, Meru, and Nyeri during the early morning hours. The northwestern parts of the country will experience rains in the morning, and this will largely affect the border of Kenya and South Sudan. In Wajir, Marsabit, and Garissa, be prepared for rains during the morning hours. The coastal strip will experience scattered wet conditions during the morning hours. And for you in Machakos, Makindu, and Voi, expect sunny intervals to prevail, but this will change in the afternoon. Those areas will experience showers, and it will also affect Meru, Nyeri, and Nairobi. The Lake Basin region will experience showers accompanied by thunderstorms over several places. The northwestern parts of the country, though it will be cloudy, sunny intervals will prevail, and the northeastern parts of the country will largely experience sunny intervals, but there will be rains in Wajir, Marsabit, and Garissa during the afternoon hours. And also for you at the coastal strip, be prepared for scattered wet conditions. Let's have a look at temperatures, and this is it. Lodo will experience highs of 35 degrees Celsius. Mandera will experience highs of 36 degrees Celsius. And for us in the capital, be prepared for highs of 24 and lows of 16 degrees Celsius. Let's now cross the borders and have a look at the international forecast. Dover, good night. See you tomorrow. God willing.
Vera Beauty College.
Vera Beauty and Fashion College, with branches in Nairobi, Eldoret, Thika, and Meru. Did you know that we are a TVET-approved institution? We offer courses in fashion design, interior design in soft furnishing, event decoration, flower arrangement, event planning, hairdressing, barbering and dreadlocks, beauty therapy, makeup, nail technology, spa massages, teaching skills, TOT, solo business management, and many more. Register now and visit our website on www.verabeautycollege.com. You can also call on 0725-923-550 Nairobi branch, 0728-087-689 Eldoret branch, 0722-227428 Thika branch, 0725-000-706 Meru branch. Vera Beauty and Fashion College, a TVET-approved institution.
Yote ndawai do iko tu sawa kwa macho yako.
Unataka kuwapo?
Ati nini? Why are you people shouting?
Are you okay?
Mwanamke wewe ninakuona sana. Ni wanaume hapa Mombasa wameisha.
Ni nini mbaya? Nowadays we have so many unfaithful people.
What?
Need to talk about her every time we are together.
And be very careful the way you address me.
Zako zinakuangaje? Huwezi kaa dakika mbili hata bila kuteta.
You will all sign new contracts.
And I am supposed to be briefed.
What? Taki ujinga.
Oof.
Bwana Yesu asifiwe sana. Ningependa kuchukua nafasi kukusalimu kwa jina la Yesu popote unanitazama. Kwa majina yangu naitwa Pastor Sam Leme Olosinigi. Nimetoka Narok County na hudumu na kanisa la Gospel Revival Center Narok Town. Na asubuhi ya leo ningependa kukuletea neno la Mungu, ama siku ya leo neno la Mungu la uzima, ambapo kwa neno la Mungu kila kitu kinapatikana. Na neno ambayo ningependa kumzungumzia asubuhi ya leo ya kwamba ni vizuri kumwamini Mungu. Ningependa fungua nami kwenye kitabu cha Injili ya Yohana mlango wa 3 mstari wake wa 36 ili Bwana apate kutubariki kwa jina la Yesu Kristo wa Nazareti. Maana neno la Mungu ni neno ambapo tukisoma tukimtegemea, bila shaka Mungu atatusaidia. Biblia inasema hivi: amwaminiaye mwana yuna uzima wa milele, na asiyemwamini hawataona uzima, bali katabu ya Mungu itamkalia. Asubuhi ya leo, siku ya leo ningependa kuambia kwamba unapomwamini Mungu kuna mambo ambayo Mungu anafanya katika maisha yako. Maandiko yanasema kwamba amwaminiaye mwana wa Mungu ambaye ni Yesu Kristo ana uzima wa milele. Uzima wa